When you fly an airplane, the only way you get air is to take off with the wind in your face. Airplanes always fly into the headwinds. It's the same idea when you're running an organization, there are always headwinds. But you set the airplane up with what it's supposed to do and why you're doing it, and as those headwinds get heavier and heavier, guess what? The plane takes off. It flies every single time because you've lined up the principles correctly.
Oh, really?
I've never had the career that was that one noun, lawyer, doctor, plumber, architect. I've had a career that wound up following a certain bunch of principles and shared principles that I discovered and learned and defined who I am.
Wherever Lawson went, whether that was at Mercatus or at CEI or now at DonorsTrust, he never forgot the value of the state.
Lawson really was the first person to identify that policymakers and their staffs in Washington don't understand economics.
Lawson cares about ideas, and the idea behind Capitol Hill campus was to bring good economic thinking to bear on legislation.
The assumption was not, we're going to come in and teach you. The assumption is, we have some ideas that we think will actually make you better at what you do.
His greatest attribute is his ability to connect with people. He doesn't give up principle, but also recognizes discussion, debate, difference of opinions are legit.
We grew that entire thing by the principle of shoe leather. We quite literally go from Fairfax, Virginia to Capitol Hill several days a week. And as a result, there are multiple legislative victories. And it's because those members who would have normally voted against something like that said, you know what? These Mercatus guys, I think they're onto something.
The real action, which Lawson has always been a huge proponent of, is in the states.
So Lawson took the ideas from Capitol Hill campus and started deploying them in the states.
The idea was, can I go into a state, find a university partner, go to that state legislature, develop a program that will somehow benefit that SPN affiliate? And so we did that. One of the greatest privileges of my career was being asked by Fred to take over his organization. Those were fun days. CEI was an organization of a band of happy warriors trying to make regulatory policy interesting, take on Leviathan, but the impact was pretty significant.
The battles we were fighting were not cakewalks. They were tough battles. But there was something called the rule of Lawson. You lose, you take off your jackets, you unbutton your collar, and then you pick another target and you go after them. Because as he put it, when it comes to suing government, this is what we do. 80.
That's CEI, and to do it with a smile and creatively and with great humor, because regulatory policy can put you to sleep.
It was one of the hardest things I've seen him do, to have to tell a group of people he loved working with that he was going to be leaving. He knew they were just going to have to trust his judgment, and that what he was going on to do was going to serve them even better.
Whitney was deeply principled. Her successor at DonorsTrust needed to be someone who understood the strategic value of having DonorsTrust exist.
And so to lose her and have to find someone to run DonorsTrust was difficult. What hit me, actually, is that Lawson is kind of like a male version of Whitney and made what I thought was going to be a really tough transition just seamless. When Lawson decided to come to DonorsTrust, I think it was because he saw that he would have the best ability to advance liberty-loving causes.
Because DonorsTrust sits between the worlds of the donor community, with which we care a great deal about, and the policymaking world, which we equally care about.
Right now, the donors are under attack, and Lawson makes sure that they're able to give in ways that are consistent with their vision and mission for the country, and he does so unabashedly.
He's been able to grow DonorsTrust into an organization that I'm not sure they even fathomed when they first started it.
There are more connections happening, there's more money coming into the movement, there's more opportunity, and there are more wins happening.
DonorsTrust in its existence has channeled over $2 billion to causes that advance the freedoms that we all depend upon. You know, Whitney and I created DonorsTrust and we built it, but Lawson has really taken it to a new level. And in doing that, he's really cemented and strengthened Whitney's legacy. And that's something I'll be eternally grateful to him for.
So, a lot of people, when they talk about understanding and appreciating the ideas of liberty and this sort of a thing, it's a book that they read, a film that they saw, and that's all true. For me, it was a particular incident. In August of 1983, I was an exchange student in Germany. We were heading north, lovely day, and we took a walk through the woods. It's rare to find a picture that captures an exact moment that transfixed and changed who you are, but this happens to be it. And I emerged into what I describe as nothing but just a nightmare of tank traps and sand and minefields and towers where I could see guards looking at me. About a mile away was a church steeple. And my German mother pointed to it and said that's where I was baptized. My sister-in-law is still living there and she can't come to see me. I had one of those road to Damascus moments. I remember thinking, I don't want to not be like this. The goal is not to not be them. The goal is to be the freest country on the planet and to continually strive to be. I think even more so than Washington, D.C., the true leadership opportunity is at the States. As leaders at SPN, you're going to be faced with certain headwinds in your own institution. Now is when you have to understand who you are, what those principles are, why you believe it, get the plane in motion, get everything set up. And when those headwinds come, you're ready to go and fly your course that you have to fly.